Well, this is super exciting. A brand new product from Rode. This is called the Rodecaster Video. So you can see where they're going with this. This either takes your video podcasting to the next level or, frankly, any video live streaming production. All made in Australia. All right, so at its core, it is a video switching box. We've got camera 1 is my wide shot here in the podcast studio. Camera 2 is me. Camera 3 should be Stephen or someone else as a guest. And camera 4, I've got this extra cutaway shot here to point at the multi-view because I think that's a big part of this. It's the whole video production suite. Now, I'm going to say straight up, this is $11.99 US, $17.99 Australian. And I think there's some obvious competitors and comparisons that need to be quickly spoken about before we go into the deep features. Now, the Atom Mini, probably one of the most go-to video switching devices out there. And remember, this was originally not cheap. You actually find the Atom Mini Pro ISO now for around 800 Aussie dollars. That was easy 1,500 when it launched, so the prices have come down. But this has been my go-to for having multiple sources and switching them. So essentially, I've been using this as a multi-view monitor in our podcast studio, despite the fact I've been recording on individual memory cards because I don't have the ISO version of this. And if I did have the ISO version of this, it would only be HD. We'll get to that in a minute. And then recently, literally like a month and a half ago, I bought this. Cost me about $2,000 with the side controller. This is the YOLO box. I think it's the Ultra or Live, whatever they call it. But this is the beast. So we can do direct live streaming or we can do multi-camera switching. So again, I was able to have 4 inputs, 1 output, and I was able to see that on the multi-view monitor. But critically here, I could record in 2K on each of the inputs in ISO. So I can't record in 4K. It's just too much grunt, I guess, too much bandwidth maybe. But I could record in 2K. 3 cameras, 2K. And that was a big deal. And then this arrived, the Rodecaster Video. Now, I'll show you a nifty little trick straight away. I can run some overlay vision. And that is this here. So that's a comparison there of the Rodecaster Video and the Atom Mini Pro. You can just see the size comparison basically, which is a critical little difference there. Come back to me. So there we learnt something new there. When the video ends, it just pauses. The things you learn while you're recording your review video. I'll be honest, I've had this for a few weeks. It has been frustrating in many ways because I've been very busy and not been able to soak myself into it. And so a lot of things I thought it couldn't do, it actually can do. A lot of things I kind of read wrong. I was turning the wrong dial for different things. You gotta learn. And the video overlay was one of the key things because an overlay on the Rodecaster Video is actually a graphic like that. So that is an overlay, right? So an overlay is to them a piece of graphic. I think of overlay as a TV person. I think of overlay as B-roll. Overlay, still graphic. And I tested this. I made this in Photoshop 5 seconds before I started recording. It takes in transparency beautifully as well. So that's just a white fade to transparent in Photoshop, exported as a PNG. Done. Easy done. And then this is obviously the full block. And then you switch to the video section, the media section, and you've got all of your options. Now you can see here if I switch to the multi-view and it just does that lovely cascade. This is the live view that I have here in the studio. Now, I can see audio levels. I think that's really reassuring. I can see record time, very important. I can see my camera inputs and I can see my media overlay. Well, media clips, I'm going to call them. But they're the clips that I can run. So we can see there I've got 6 clips loaded and I can run those clips at any time. Wrong camera. Now, one of the things that it took me a minute to get working, in fact, we set this up entirely to do a whole podcast last week and it didn't work. And I was gutted, to be honest, because in the software, here, I'll show you now, there's a bunch of settings and one of them is auto switching. Now, auto switching, I thought, okay, well, I've got 3 cameras. And what you do is you associate down here. So this is camera 2 is me. Combo 1 is my mic. combo input they mean on the actual on the device. And then you say, okay, that's the link. And then on the wide shot, I've linked both cameras and I've said just use it irrationally low. Problem is, it just didn't work. Turns out you've got to press the auto button, okay? Very, very distracting. Now, somewhere here, I've got a picture of that. I think it might be this one. No, this is running through the screen. And that's the touch screen. This one here is flicking through the media and overlay. But basically, there's an auto button here. When I push and hold this auto button, I'm going to cut away to Steven's camera for a minute. So it's blank, right? If I push and hold the auto button, it goes green. And when I speak, it just switches to me. Now, very hard thing for me to demonstrate, but so that's the low priority switching between the side mic. I wonder if we do this. Hello. Yeah, there we go. So back to me. So auto switching, and that is game changer for me. We do about 4 hours of podcasting every week, several shows, and we never did video until I discovered AutoPod, they call it AI, but it's just voice tracking, switching in Adobe Premiere. But 3 cameras, recording at 4K, they're like 20 gigabytes per show. You download those, you clip them together. It's like half an hour's, maybe an hour's work downloading all the vision. Then it's another 20 minutes, half an hour's work quickly clipping it all together. And then it's probably another 20 minutes exporting it. So there's still a production workflow. And so switching to auto like this is going to be a game changer. Plus, we've got the multi-view, so I can see over here, I can see what's happening. Now, as I made a manual switch, I now need that disengages the auto mode. So I need to press and hold auto mode. Now, it's described to me like cruise control. And that's a really great way to think of it. It's cruise control. So you enable it, and then if you disengage it in any way, you have to re-enable it. Now, I'll give you another tip. When you bring up the media file and you run some B-roll, like this beautiful shot of the top, it's a rubbish shot, I know, of the top of the Rodecaster video, let's just watch this go through 13 seconds and test for ourselves whether or not it just stops, which it probably will because I haven't set it to loop. There we go. Just stops and pauses on there. We come back to me. Now it's off auto because it's like we slowed down in traffic. Now I push and hold to go back to auto switching mode. Pretty darn cool. There's a lot of settings on here on the screen. I'm not going to dig into those because I think a lot of people will do that separately in their own videos. That's something for someone else to do. But let's have a quick look at the software. So basically you see here the same Rode Central software you use to interact with the Rodecaster and all your mics or whatever it is. And now we've got these options. So your audio mixer, and you can run this live. So I'm recording right now. You can see that up in the screen it says recording, and I can go, okay, you know what? I'm going to bring Combo 2 down because Steven's not here. I don't want that mic to trigger, and also I don't want that little bit of echo. Maybe the audio is better now. So we've got our audio mixer. Now, the thing is here we can also do very detailed changes, so I can set up the headphone outputs to be different feeds, different sounds. Very, very cool. Reminds me a little bit of their Rode Unity X, the gaming brand, their software. It was very, very interesting. We've got the full device configuration, which I'm not going to touch because it's recording. And we've got the scene builder. Now, this is the scene builder. This is what I was talking about with the the video and the graphics and things, right? So if we go videos here, these are the videos and graphics. You can see here it's like a trigger. So these are the videos that are on the SD card. I've imported those. If I click here on media now, that has taken me off auto mode automatically. So this is like a live switcher as well. I can drag and drop. Simple drag and drop, and we've got access to that media. And I wonder if you press and hold on auto in here. Yep. Press and hold on auto in the software. It also switches. Now, that's really fascinating to me because when I record the podcast, I always have my laptop in front of me, and this gear is always down here on our side desk. So it means I can have the software set up and I can still make little tweaks and changes without potentially having to, come down and touch on things like that. So that's pretty cool. It's great software. Again, it took me a little while to work out that you have to be in media mode to drop media. You have to be in overlay mode to drop overlay. Once you learn it, you nail it. It's as simple as that. So you've got to be, I'll just come back again, switch to this. screen recording, you've got to be in graphics mode. You've got to find graphics, and then you can only drag graphics. So if we're in video mode here, you cannot drag videos in there. You've got to be in media mode, and likewise, you can't drag graphics into media. So maybe they should just be called videos and stills, but I like the professionalism of media and overlay. It's just that for me, overlay is also B-roll. So that's a whole other problem. Go back to cruise control mode, auto. So yeah, that's your software. It works really well, really easy. Lots of inputs. So 4 HDMI inputs, 2 HDMI outputs, and that's a big deal for me because again, you can actually rig it so that one output is multi-view and the other output is single program frame. So theoretically, I might be able to set up program frames above each camera with a split up. It could be very exciting. There are 2 headphone outputs, 2 speaker outputs, 2 combo inputs, and there are a bunch of USB-C inputs. Now, these USB-C ports are very specific. Some are for the computer. One is for your hard drive. One can be for the Rodecaster, so you can have the Rodecaster set up, but you can't just plug anything in anywhere. Just so you know, be cautious about that. That's important. Now, just finally on the Rodecaster, because I use this for podcasting, I probably can't really show you right now, but we struggle because we need the Rodecaster. We play our stings. We have Bluetooth for phone calls. There's a lot of reasons I need the Rodecaster still. So what we ended up doing is using the Rodecaster for stings and Bluetooth, and using the Chat 2 output on that into the number 4 input here. And so what happens is that comes up as an audio input USB 4 on the multi-view and on the mixer, so that the calls and the stings all come through here as one channel, which does mean in the ISO recording that recorded as one channel. That's totally fine because in ISO recording, all your audio channels, including your mics, are mixed anyway. So if I have an issue, I can fix it in post. Now, the only other thing I'd say is check your audio delay on the settings here. Was one of the first things I needed to do because, and I think I got vision of it here somewhere. My goodness, might be this one. No, this one. So if we flick through here, you go all your issues, including audio delay. When you click on audio delay, you can choose. I've set it to 6 frames. Thank you to Rode for helping me work that out. I could have worked it out myself, I'm sure. But yeah, set the audio delay to suit your studio needs. This is awesome. It's $700. It's very expensive, and its biggest failing is it's only HD. So I've gone to all this trouble of setting up a 4K studio. I'm recording in 4K on memory cards, but I'm balancing out the workflow. I'm looking for an hour or two saving in my workflow, and I'm happy to drop down to HD for that. I don't know why it can't be 4K. I know they've been working on this product for years. I saw a cardboard mock-up of this, I think 3 years ago. I first talked to them about it, 4 years ago. So it's remarkable to finally see the product, I will say that, and I'm excited about it. I don't know whether a Pro version is coming that has 4K. That kind of makes sense. I assume it needs more grunt inside. I assume it's all to do with the bandwidth of data that's coming through, because 4 4K streams is a lot of data. So I assume that's the reason. But it is what it is. I'm going to stick to manual mode and talk down the barrel and stop the auto switching now. It's a brilliant little product, all recording to a USB external drive. There is a micro SD card in there, which is where your graphics and things are stored. Yeah, it's an absolute cracker. Made in Australia, works beautifully. The Rodecaster video, $17.99 in Australia, about $11.99 US at B&H and all those places, but you'll find it everywhere because it's a very big deal for them. And they already do video well with all their microphones and stuff. This is just another play into that game. This is probably going to be their most critical product because it is such a busy market. And while the Rodecaster wasn't the first audio mixer, it was the start of the podcast revolution in terms of hardware. This is not the start. There are other boxes. So they'll be well compared to other boxes, and I think some people will stick to certain things. Others, not so much. And by the way, this also has stream profiles for your YouTube, your Facebook, all that kind of stuff, so you can direct out. It's got Cat 5, Cat 6, so that you can do Ethernet or Wi-Fi to do your streaming. that's all possible. I don't do live streaming, so it's not something I'm looking into right now, but it's all there. And again, you'll find plenty of videos on this because Rode have been working hard to make sure a bunch of creators have got this so they can show you what it's like. More photos up at EFTM.com. Would love your thoughts in the comments. Anything you want me to test out, I'll give it a crack. Why not?